What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Fuel channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on the Philadelphia 76ers. This is the first Sixers video that I'm making this season after, a heartbreaking yet kind of inspiring game by the Sixers with a loss. They should have won, clearly, but they lose to the Milwaukee Bucks on opening night, 118 to 117. This was a game of runs, okay? Both these teams go on big runs during the game. The Milwaukee Bucks, they get their big run in the second quarter. First quarter was pretty consistent. The Bucks took like a 6-point lead going into the second quarter. But then this is when the runs start. The Bucks, they take an 18-point lead. They're up 55 to 37 in the second quarter. Then the Sixers are able to go on a run themselves and make it a 9-point game going into halftime. So after kind of an ugly first half, besides I would say Kelly Oubre Jr., which I have a lot to say about him. This was not a great first half for the 76ers. And then they come out and they look fantastic. To start the second half, Joel Embiid has 8 points in the first 3 minutes of the second half. You got Tyrese Maxey doing his thing. Tobias Harris doing his thing. Kelly Oubre Jr. was phenomenal the entire game, not just at Sparks. He was phenomenal the entire fucking game. Then the Bucks go on a run to end halftime, and then the Bucks go, and the Sixers, they get on their run. They take an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter. They're up 102 to 94 with 6 minutes and 47 seconds to go, and the game changed. And this is really when I have to harp on the refs. And I hate doing this because it's the first game of the NBA season for the 76ers. And there's 81 games to go. And listen, I'm not an avid hardcore watcher. I'm not going to watch every game. I'm not going to review every game during the season. I'll be there here and there to talk about my team. But I'm not here every single night talking about the Sixers. I wanted to tonight because it's opening night and there's a lot to talk about on the court, off the court, and I wanted to talk about it. But the game was decided when the Sixers had a 104 to 102 lead. The Milwaukee Bucks had the ball, and Giannis is being guarded by Joel Embiid and Kelly Oubre Jr., and he misses his own layup. He somehow gets his own rebound, he misses and he airballs a layup. He gets his own airball somehow, and he traveled. But the officiating ones say he slipped. It wasn't a shot attempt, blah, blah, blah. It was a terrible missed call. Seconds later, he gets the ball to a wide-open Damian Lillard, and he sinks a three-pointer. Which Damian Lillard had a fantastic night in his debut with the Milwaukee Bucks. He had 39 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. He sunk 4 three-pointers. He was unbelievable tonight. But that was this deciding play. Now, it wasn't all on the referees, although there were some really, really questionable calls against the 76ers in this game. That was the biggest one right there. You had the foul that was on Brook Lopez that was taken away. You had Tyrese Maxey that was shooting a 3 when they were down by 4 in the fourth quarter. Pat Connaughton slaps his hand, no foul whatsoever. They thought it was a clean block when I thought it wasn't. I thought that should have been called a foul. And then the last couple seconds of the game, the Sixers are down by 2, and Damian Lillard gets fouled because why not? And the part that makes this all suck is D'Anthony Melton sinks a buzzer beater just to lose the game by 1 point, which sucks. But this team fought the entire game. If I'm looking at the positives of this game, the fight that they continue to have, I feel like last year's team would have died over and just let the Bucks steamroll, because that's what happened in the playoffs last year. It was a tight game going into halftime. The Celtics were up by like 10 in the start of the third quarter. They got hot, and the Sixers didn't fight back. They didn't have any heart. Tonight, I saw heart. Kelly Oubre Jr., my goodness, man. He talked this week, and he was saying, in the Eastern Conference, there's speculation and true facts that the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat are all at the top of the conference. No one's talking about the Sixers. Are you guys hungry? And Oubre was like, man, I'm starving. And he ate good tonight, man. He was my MVP, honestly. Tyrese Maxey, nothing against him. He had a great game himself. 31 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. I'll take that every night from Tyrese Maxey. But Oubre was just unbelievable. Finally, an athletic wing that the 76ers have. Not George Niang. They have Kelly Oubre Jr., who's lethal from 3. He's good on defense. He's aggressive with rebounds. I love this guy. It's game 1, and I love Kelly Oubre Jr. I cannot wait to see more of him throughout the season. If he happens to work himself into the starting lineup for the Philadelphia 76ers, that would be fantastic. That would be great. So if you're looking at the positives tonight, you're thinking the fight that the Sixers had the entire game with the Bucks. Bucks had their run, Sixers would counter with their run. It's just a shame how it was timed where the Bucks were on their run and they were on like an 11-0 run and they had a 9-point lead with like 2.5 minutes to go. Sixers had to fight their way back into it just to lose by 1 point. It sucks, but it's the first game of the season, and I kind of feel inspired after this game because they competed with one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference tonight. So you're thinking positives. Tyrese Maxey, at least in the second half. Kelly Oubre Jr., and the fight from the Sixers team, which I loved. If you're looking at the negatives, the refs, the fourth quarter especially, trash, costed them the game. If they call that travel on Giannis, the Sixers win this game 117-115, and I'm in a really positive attitude. Now, this is only the first game of the season. I would have loved to beat the Bucks tonight with Damian Lillard making his debut for the Bucks, but, the refs fucking ruined it, man. Of course, they had to get their business in this shit. They had to make sure that Damian Lillard was going to win his first game with Giannis on national television with the commissioner in the crowd, of course. So I'm going to say negatives. I'm going to say that fact that they were missing so many free throws in the first half. Come on, dude. Like the first couple minutes of the game, the Sixers were like 3 from 8 from your free throw line. Make the fucking free throws, man. It's not hard. It's literally free throws. That's why they're called free throws. You have to make your free throws. And then Joel Embiid. And I'm not saying Joel Embiid had a horrible game. Joel Embiid had 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. But Joel Embiid did miss some shots in the fourth quarter when he had the chance to expand the lead, diminish the deficit, take the lead. Joel Embiid had his moments, and it didn't go for him. And he had 8 points to start the second half, and he had 5 points in the remainder of the game. We need more clutch shots from Joel Embiid. And I thought Tobias Harris played well tonight as well. He had a nice performance. He made every single three-point shot. He only missed one shot. 20 points, 7 rebounds. Keep it up. I hope he keeps it up. But, these guys, despite the huge deficit in the second half, I thought they played well. It's a shame how the game ended, but it's game one. There's a lot to build off this. There's also a lot to learn off this as well. And you take it and you run with it and you go win Saturday night in Toronto against the Toronto Raptors with Nick Nurse returning to the old team he coached for the last 4 seasons, the Toronto Raptors. Now, I hate talking about this, but I have to because it's big. It's big. The big elephant in the room for the 76ers, which I'm glad he did not travel with the team. And that guy is Mr. James Harden. Now, James Harden, the last time he practiced with the Philadelphia 76ers was October 15th. Then he goes away for 10 days. 10 days. That's a lot of days. He goes away for 10 days without telling anybody in the organization, unexcused. And then he just shows up to practice on Tuesday. And from reports, the staff was shocked that James showed up. And then he was advised not to make the trip to Milwaukee because he's not basketball ready. Which I agree, because James did not show up for 10 days. James did not practice with the team for 10 days. So why would you travel him out when he's not ready? Or he might not be in his best shape. But then he comes back. He's got all of his bags packed, ready to board the trip to Milwaukee. And the Sixers tell him, look, stay home, stay in Camden, go to the facility, and, work with the trainers. Now, what I'm going to say about this is this is not going to get resolved in the next couple weeks. This should have been resolved in the offseason. But Daryl Morey asked for too much in the James Harden deal with the Los Angeles Clippers because, folks, that was the only team interested in James Harden. The only team that was buying interest in James Harden was the Los Angeles Clippers. And Daryl Morey thought that he could trade James Harden for 13 first-round draft picks and Terrence Mann and Norman Powell and whoever role players the Los Angeles Clippers have. And that's not how it works. Asking for way too much for a 34-year-old basketball player who's in the back end of his career, who is not clutch in the postseason, who has quit on 3 basketball teams in the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, James Harden has quit on the Houston Rockets, he's quit on the Brooklyn Nets, and now he's quit on the Philadelphia 76ers. So why would you want him flying out with you for that distraction? James Harden is a big distraction. But now you're stuck with James Harden because the Los Angeles Clippers, according to Woj, are pausing trade talks with James Harden because now it wouldn't make sense to trade for James Harden with the season beginning. It doesn't make sense. You're just going to roll with the guys that you have right now. So, James Harden needs to get ready. And I want James Harden, he should have been gone in the summer. He should have been gone before training camp started. But Daryl Morey couldn't find a trade partner. And he's yet to come out after James Harden goes to fucking China, has a microphone in his hand with the cameras rolling, which he knew the cameras were rolling, and he says Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never play for an organization that Daryl Morey is a part of. And Daryl Morey didn't say shit. Daryl Morey stayed silent. And this situation is a fiasco. And then James Harden a couple weeks ago says, "Look, it's like an unhappy relationship. At some point, it's gonna at some point, they're both going to disagree, and they're not going to be able to rekindle that relationship." And that's the way him and the 76ers are right now. That's the way him and Daryl Morey are right now. It's unrepairable. So, this is going to be a massive black eye for the 76ers until at least the trade deadline. Because this motherfucker, James Harden, has no trade value right now. And if you're any other team in the NBA and you read his resume, he's 34 years old. He's in the back end of his career. He's washed. He's quit on 3 teams in the last 4 years. And he is not clutch in the playoffs. Are you going to trade for him when he's on the last year of his contract? Are you really going to go out there and trade a bunch of assets for 34-year-old James Harden? I'm stuttering here, man. I hate talking about James Harden. But there's no choice because he's the biggest topic on the 76ers right now. And as much as I hate saying this, we need James Harden to play because we need James Harden out of here. And the only way James Harden is going to get a trade is increasing his trade value by playing for the 76ers. Now, if he goes out there and he's not trying and he's just chucking shots and he's lackadaisical, then send his ass home. Send his ass home and pay him for sitting on the couch. Because fans aren't going to put up with his shit. Fans are done with him. I'm done with James Harden. Fuck James Harden. I don't care that he's wearing a Sixers uniform. I love everybody else wearing a Sixers uniform besides James Harden. And it is his fault. And it's also Daryl Morey's fault. And we're trying to have a successful season. And Joel Embiid, I would say, has 3 to 4 years of good years left in him. And we're wasting it. I said it last year after the Sixers lost Game 7 to the Boston Celtics that Joel Embiid is going to be gone sooner rather than later. I really think this year is his last chance. And his chances have diminished because of the moves that the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics have made this season. It's going to be very hard. Tonight was inspiring. That's great. They should have fucking won the game. They should have beaten the Milwaukee Bucks. They should have called travel on Giannis, but they didn't. You got to bounce back. You got to bounce back, and you got to get rolling because that clock is ticking, and it's going by fast. So, we'll see, man. We'll see, man. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not a religious watcher when it comes to regular season. When it's postseason, I'm watching every single game. I'm talking about every single game here on the channel, just like I did last year in the playoffs. But for the regular season, I'll probably catch in once a month. I wanted to make a video tonight because it's opening night. It's a big night, a big game, and there's a lot to talk about with James Harden. I'll talk about the Sixers probably on here once a month. So once in November, once in December, once in January, once in before the All-Star break, and then really after the All-Star break, that's when hopefully I'll get kicking with more content. But as of right now, I'm going to drop Sixers videos once a month for you guys, just to continue to talk about them and give you all my thoughts about them. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. We are busy here, man. And by the way, now that I'm not living in Florida anymore, I do plan on going to some Sixers games this year. I might or might not vlog it for you guys. I don't know yet, but I'll let you know for sure. I do plan on going to a couple games hopefully this year. My schedule's pretty busy, so my goal is to get to at least 2 games this year. I'll be totally okay with that, and I might vlog them. So be sure to tune in for that. And we're busy on here, man. We had Week 8 NFL picks today. We were at the Phillies game, unfortunately, Tuesday night vlogging. We'll be previewing the Dolphins and the Patriots tomorrow, which I just don't know what's going on with the injuries for the Dolphins, man. Adam Schefter says Jalen Ramsey's playing on Sunday, and then Jalen Ramsey comes out and says, no, it's not confirmed. He's bullshitting. I don't know what to believe. I believe Jalen Ramsey. That's what I'll say. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to talk about it tonight. Subscribe, comment, hit the like button, follow me on Twitter, Colin_Joseph. I'm getting my ass out of here, and I'm getting some sleep. Peace, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.